We are live.
Story, remember?
What?
The story. He's
Tell
a
the
story.
tell the story.
There's a story?
There's a story.
We live in
That's why
story.
he's opening.
There's a story.
There's a story?
All right, I'm gonna read what Don wrote.
No, but it's your story. You got to tell your story first.
You
You're
gotta tell
opening.
your story about your uncle.
Brother?
And why?
No, your
Three stories.
yes,
Yes.
the story.
Which is why Kenny even had the house in the first place. All right, we're going back.
When you ruined my story,
No,
you could have said the punchline before you opened
a
over.
little closer. Little closer. Look,
Anyway, I'll go far back, so
Look,
the beginning before anybody. No one knows all that stuff.
a little bit closer to. A little closer.
So, when, well, actually, my brother Roger first, then Kenny and I, we were taken up
pretty
to
good.
Rosendale, near Kingston, to stay with my aunt and uncle for the summer. And Roger did that before us. He was 5 years older than Kenny, so he was there first. He was actually there in the winters, which Kenny and I never did. But at some point when we were 7 or 8 years old and 9 past, we started spending summers there with my aunt and uncle, and got to know my aunt and uncle in ways we never would have known. And he liked to tell about his experiences, the things he did in life, which was so interesting because I don't think anybody ever knew anyone who was in the U.S. Cavalry. I had an uncle who was in the U.S. Cavalry. And he was in the Army, Field Postal Artillery. Did so many interesting things. They were very well-rounded person. And a Christian. Him and my aunt would go to Kingston, and they would attend the Lutheran church there, a big stone building. So, my brother and I, we spent summers in a much different place than Astoria where we were growing up. And we met people they knew, usually of German descent. We were taken to meet people on their farms, in their homes, on Sundays, usually. And we came home in the dark. And up there when it's dark, let me tell you, you can't see your hand in front of your face. It's not like around here. There's always ambient light. Up there, there's nothing. When you turn the headlights off, there is nothing. When we had arrived back at my uncle's house, and you put the car away and the headlights went out, we just stood there and held on to my aunt because we couldn't move an inch. The world disappeared into the darkness. But it was a wonderful time, and they took care of us just like we were there. Not an annoyance, not something they had to do. We cherished, cared for, and given different experiences that not only gave us a new understanding, but a new deeper affection for my aunt, who we loved anyway. And we used to, Sundays before we went to church, they would take this big metal tub and put it out in the sun to warm up. And my uncle would bathe himself first, and then us two kids would wash, and clean clothes would be sitting on a chair out in the grass. And the road is only about 100 feet away, so everybody's looking at what we're doing. And then we were dressed and told, don't get dirty, don't get dirty. So we had to be good, brush off and fool around, and then hope we go to church. And then later on, hopefully, we would visit somebody, friends of theirs. And so we saw chicken farms, and we saw horses and cows and all these things you don't have in Astoria, Queens. And nice, solid people. They had quite a few friends at Kingston. And we did things like we went to a resort area called Williams Lake. We swam in the coldest water, very experience in my life. Ankle deep was, I think, as far as I went. And my uncle used to swim back and forth like a torpedo. He loved it, he just loved it. So, fast forward a while, my uncle's pension was reduced, his army pension, and he couldn't afford that house, a beautiful little house in Rosendale. So he sold it. And at an auction, sold everything he had. And my brother and I were devastated. Because then we knew we're not going back. Someone else owns that house now. And whatever the last time we spent there, I went up a few times by myself to visit them when I was driving age, but that was all gone. And it made such an impression on Kenny that he wanted those experiences, the taste of that life, for his kids, and my kids, and then the other family kids. So he bought property and the house in Delhi so that we could recreate as best we could those wonderful experiences of closeness with family, of the type of life that is more common in farm areas than it is here, where people think differently and behave differently than they do in cities. And so, for, I don't know how many years was it? 35 years, something like that. So he had that house for as long as my twins.
That was a baby.
Born.
Yeah.
Right about the time we got that house. And I think as best as we could manufacture or produce those experiences and things of country life for our kids, people did pretty good. And everybody seemed to love the times up there, simple times, fishing in the creek with hot dogs as bait on fishing poles that we got out of the barn. Never caught anything, but it's a lot of fun. So we're at a crossroads here. The owner of the house now, Eric, does not have the willingness, says the money, to continue keeping that house. So he intends to sell it. And while the details are not set, there is no buyer, yet it brings a decision to everyone else. Do we do something to preserve that house in the family, to retain it, keep it in the family? Or do we let it go with all its memories and connections and just be a part of history? And so maybe it's on us to do something to keep that house for the next generation of kids, for Laura's kids and Vanessa's kids and Andrew's boy, and still to the families to be there to do the things and enjoy each other as we have been doing these 30 years. So, the first thing we need to consider is there among the family a general consensus that this is something we need to do, should do, for the preservation of that place, for our own enjoyment and our kids' enjoyment? And if it's important enough to us to maintain, continue those vacation times and those very good times, what are we going to do about it? First thing would be, now, we don't have everyone here, we can't speak for those who aren't here with us tonight, but I've talked about this with Don for some time now, and he believes, as I do, that you cannot match the good times that we had up there when your sisters were growing, and Paul and Don were young. There's no way you can duplicate or match practical matters of cost and things like that, and what type of situation would exist where all these families and all these people and friends could use that house, go to that place, have those experiences, and create those memories for themselves and kids, another generation. So we don't have a lot of facts of money. We have some. We don't yet have what the asking price is of the house and property. But before we get into that and see if that's proper, see if that's possible, we should consider what do we want to do as a family, and can enough of us get together to make it happen. Now, it is also influenced, of course, Veronica and Oral, it would always be welcome. Eric also, if he comes east. But mainly we're doing it for ourselves, our kids, my kids, their kids. So, and friends, like you guys, friends, good friends. So, I wish the others were here because at this point, Eric is going to leave and go back to the sweltering heat of Arizona about 10 days hence, 10 days from today. And I would like to have basic approval of the concept before then, because I want him to know that we're interested, we're working on it, and we will be able to tell him without too much delay, once we know the actual, say, asking price and things like cost of mortgage, like that, some hard facts, if we can all do it. And at that point, I would say, then it's going to be a consortium of people who are going to buy and own this house. Now, the only wrinkle I see is he might be thinking the house is worth more money than it really is. So, if that figure puts it out of reach of the families, even though they decide this is what they want to do, well, then we would say, we don't think it's worth that much money. But if it doesn't sell, we wanted to have a first right of refusal at the lower rate, the lower, the realistic selling price. If it doesn't sell for the inflated price we think, when the price comes down to reality, we want to be the first people and satisfy that number and become the owners. Barring that, then it's out of our hands and he just puts it up for sale and it's that. So, we need to think, what does it mean for our futures, our kids' futures? And is this something that is that a terrible responsibility? It's a little responsibility. The good things, the real good thing is that we have men in this family who are talented, resourceful enough that they can maintain the house in as good or better condition than Kenny did. Because there's more of those men, and they have everything, including the tools, to take care of a house like that. And maybe do things that Kenny couldn't do, because he was only one man. And what good times would be had there, 4th of Julys and fairs, county fairs. We've had them, and they're cherished memories of ours. It's time to consider, are we going to keep this in the family and create more of those memories by having a piece of our history still there and continuing into the future for as long as we want. So, with that, I think we should start talking about any concerns we have, what we think is going to happen. Don has some plans about how to do a thing like this, the number of people, and so he's done some good work and good thinking, and we should all be aware of what his plan is for all this group of people who collectively own the house. And then, if we can, get, a majority of people to agree, then we start thinking about cost and how we're gonna pay for it. And, at that point, somewhere, we'll have an actual estimated asking selling price. And then we can find out what mortgages cost and then divide that up and see what each person would be responsible for, and then you know what's ahead of you. I don't estimate that it'll be a great deal of money. Some have no money, other people have some money, but we will have to figure out how we get divided up and how we pay for it. Before we get that far, what do we think of this deal? And after we talk about it again tonight, we're going to have to go back to the other two families and discuss with them and what we came up with, and hopefully they agree. But everyone will benefit. I would say some more than others, but everyone benefits quite a bit with this. And I told Eric, you can come here, you can go hunting and do stuff, you know, if we buy a house. You're still in the family. You don't own it anymore. But we're not saying we're buying it and, you know, you're out of luck. Or Veronica and, oh, it can't come up because we own it. Nothing like that. It was created by Kenny, for everyone, family and friends. I think that's the way it would be. So, let's sit down and talk about this and see what's on our mind, all right?
No.
Bro, you! What do you say?
I would like to keep it if we can.
Look at this picture Scott sent me.
Hmm?
This picture Scott sent me.
Actually, we got one yay. I don't think it's Congress, but we have one yay, whatever that is. I wanted to get some thoughts on paper, and I thought, okay, bullet points. I'll just make bullet points, and I'd love to ad-lib. I'll fill in some thoughts as I do. James Day knows from my Bible study, which did go on for like 3 years, and other things. But my finger would just keep going and just start writing an essay. So I went for a page. I was like, no, just do bullet points. Get your thoughts in. So I tried again. I got 2 bullet points, and then I wrote 3.5 pages. And I was like, it's no bullet points. All right, we're good. So I'll just plot like 3 things in my brain I'm thinking at one moment. The church we're in is important because unlike any other church on the face of the earth, this is the Mary Church. It will be forever.
Can I have some more?
And I made it my personal responsibility that this church stand forever. The people as well as the structures. And me and my awesome friend Jesse, Danny, Paul, I believe James has helped, my dad has helped, literally building and restoring the actual building. And to provide a home and a place so my brother can still live in the home.
And
The
your
church
name's on the church.
home that I was just living in. But now I'm married. Thank God for my wife.
No kidding. To who?
Our names are on, there is a stained glass small window in the hallway there. Our name is literally on it. Because the women's are, but doesn't matter. It's on there.
Mary family loves Jesus.
Mary family loves Jesus. Our names, I know there's one for John Trent. There's a hymnal dedicated to him sitting in the box in the rear of the room. So,
And don't forget,
like,
our names are on the back side of the covers of those Bibles.
yeah.
Our names are there.
There's a few family names. It's on the hymnals.
Yeah.
And some may be hesitant now, but I've said strongly on YouTube and Facebook that it would be ideal that my family goes here and we go here. Because whatever you don't like about the church now, it's going to change anyway. Because I'm about reform, not change for change's sake. Change, change, change. What kind of change? Is it good change or bad change? So I use the word reform. My hero, Jesus, he's all about redemption. He was very serious about redemption. Because you know what he did? He went, we don't have one. He went all the way to the cross for redemption. I took the reins, ran unopposed, but then again, the property, the church, including 5 buildings, would have gone under if I didn't simply step up to assume responsibility to help rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, so to speak, which are torn down and burned, people running in derision, mayhem, confusion, people wondering what's going on. There's no need to panic, because we have God, and we are good God-fearing people, and the world is ours for the taking. We are the people of God.
God is with us, who can be against
Yes.
us?
I think it's,
Right.
forget the address. That's Vanessa's favorite verse. I replaced a president who was talking exactly like my cousin Eric was talking to me on the phone, and I was distressed, heart racing. I confronted this attitude before. Now I love my brother, so I kept saying, let me help you. It's very clear, and I don't blame him for a minute. Can't afford the property. There's a lot of reasons for that. Okay, who could? My cousin's a great guy, but he doesn't work for IBM. Uncle Kenny was a great man, a veritable American hero, which we all can work very hard and still not fill his shoes. And the amount the man could accomplish, the amount the man maintained, is legendary. Raising 3 kids by himself, moving from Staten Island to New City, total upgrade, maintaining another home, miles and miles of it. Incredible. And then not just thinking about himself, but thinking about the family as a whole. And the incredible and valuable itself. There's a bit of sentimentality
Keep on going.
To emphasize every difficulty, there is not the same as it used to be. The place needs repair, but ignoring the cherish the jewel, which is that property, out there nestled in God's country, in the Catskill Mountains. To ignore that, almost to try to talk yourself out of what you know you should be doing. Talk yourself into something else. So, like the past president here, who would have seen the doors closed in this church because she couldn't see a solution to anything. Well, we're doing just fine right now.
Right.
Problem solving, work the issue. Have some faith. Have some faith, like a mustard seed. We're in a transitional period in America as a whole. There's a war in Ukraine, but literally there is basically a war in America right now between warring political parties. And it's getting really nasty. You had the Supreme Court taking a direction I agree with. One of the previous members died suspiciously. Body cremated before an autopsy. Suspicious. That's the Supreme Court. Oh, the presidency. Suspicious. No, current president stole his seat from the previous president. That's grounds for warfare. And these people are plain old communists. There's no limit to what they might do to average people like you and me. And where would you go when you have us all settled here in New York, not the most free state? Where would you go? 376, a place, most of us, a place we'd all call home today. Still go home, even though Laura has her own house, Vanessa has her own house, Andrew has her own, they all have their own house. What would they all still call? What would they still call home anyway? 376. And I would still call home. Still walk in there like I live there, okay? Also paying bills by. Go back there to take care of the house. Now, the only person, the only couple, the only married couple that doesn't have their own house to themselves yet is me and my beautiful wife Jordan. Right now, it just seems absolutely impossible that that would be our house one day. So, what would you call home when that house is gone? God forbid. What would be the home? What would be the home that's everyone's home? It should be that house up north, west. When you ask, what is America? What makes the tribe America? What would be the single thing that you could point to? What is the tower that you'd say that is a representation, a time, a place, a state of mind? It's that house in Delhi. Eric's looking at it as a problem. It costs too much. I don't just look at that space as a house that needs to be maintained. It is a symbol of family. Sentimental, yes. Well, every human being needs to get away. Every human being needs a place to go. Sometimes you want to go. Hey.
Where everybody knows, man.
This will be the house that is the house forever. And you call this is the marrying land. And it can't be lost or sold or someone dies or someone moves to another one. This will be the home that is everyone's home forever because everyone would own it and volunteer time as they can to maintain it. And to go even deeper, times can get potentially really bad very soon. You got another 2 years of Biden. A man literally with dementia sitting in the Oval Office. Oldest president alive, and the stuff they've been doing to former Trump staff and campaign people is Gestapo. It's communist.
Beyond the pale.
Beyond the pale.
Dollar could collapse, and at that point, the only thing that's worth anything is actual property. When the money in your pocket would be useless. It's not actual money, it's currency. It's a fiat currency.
Yeah.
You have the Supreme Court says one thing, California, New York, they actually defy law and order. So like I said here at a potluck dinner before, we were talking about vision and vision statements and ministry vision, the reason why we have church. I was saying with these things coming, these things looming, I mentioned the gas prices. I said we need to be pulling together, not apart. I'm here to make the case for investing, for building, not downsizing, no shrinkflation, no retreats. And we'll thank God. We might thank God one day for this extra property. We might thank God as a place to go, a place to escape to, figuratively or literally, a secure location, not on an island. It's not such an island.
I tell you a story I didn't tell anybody before, but I used to think, like when they were going to put that nuclear power station on Long Island, what if there's a natural disaster? What if something happens and I can't stay here anymore?
Something's gonna happen.
And I said, well, I guess I'd go up to Delhi and throw the family in the car and go up there. And that's what Kenny said. So that's the place you go to when there's no other place to go.
Should build a fall.
And if you don't have it,
shelter.
you don't have that either.
Yeah, we get poor.
You have to build a fallout shelter there too.
Oh, we got that in the basement of the house.
Like an underground bunker.
Absolute tyrants in government,
Yeah,
and if
basement.
they had their way, they would have the monopoly on force.
Something's gonna happen eventually.
So the argument is to pull together apart. By the way, no one's getting any younger.
Cows Ranch.
When the patriarch, when Jordan's grandmother passed away, the family about collapsed completely. She literally held it together, and it just came together. It was with intervention. Your sister, who happened to get a great career, wanted to buy it, still couldn't afford it. Your aunt came in, helped her. So the house her grandmother owned is still there, and we're going there. Maybe even tonight we'll meet there for a barbecue. Same thing.
It's the only thing that's really holding the family together.
The thing that's holding it. So is there an empirical reason? Can I prove why you would need a place to go to? It's not Disneyland where they're grooming kids to be gay and transgender, things like that.
And then
DeSantis didn't take away their tax breaks for nothing. It's because they're being political and they're playing fast and loose with our children. How about we raise kids in God's country where they go on in the fields and there's no one there to pick you up and throw you in a van and you disappear? This is literally, there's no one there to begin with to grab you.
And there's no internet. You go back to basics.
No internet. Oh,
I'm so sick of them being in their room on the video games. So
Yes,
sick of it.
and there's no reception up there. They
There's a,
can't play with their electronic
Okay, my
toys.
kids
I
aren't
know
gonna have
very much
electronics
paying
or
attention.
video
This fellow,
games.
he wrote, actually he's more of a researcher than anything. He wrote a book called The Coddling of the American Mind. And he just released another book about what social media does to young people.
Who's that?
And it literally causes you to want to kill yourself. Social media. Especially between the ages of about 10 to 16. At the most impressionable times of your life. How about let's teach our young people, maybe my future children, not too far along, not too far, time goes by, my future kids, let's show them, this is what it means to be American. We have friends that are just as good as family, and every Sunday we'll be there amongst the trees, the fields, the flowery fields, the bubbling brooks. We will be there around food. We will be there in love, humor, encouragement, around the Bible. We will be there.
Remember, the people up
and
there,
say, hey,
they think like we do, not like the people in New York. They still got their heads screwed on straight.
had an impression on me. I lived there 14 months. Couldn't afford it eventually. Well,
I lived in
if
Albany.
people don't know, there's no reason I should be ashamed. If you don't know, I had a roommate there who died of a heroin overdose in the apartment, the back room there, which I don't walk past. It's the back room. I don't walk past his bedroom to leave. I'm in the front. Him and his girlfriend in the back room. So I said, am I going to get another roommate to move with me, knowing what happened? Okay, no.
Yeah.
But I learned how to maintain an apartment, control myself in some discipline, and by the stroke of the providence of God, wound up in the Sexton house
Yeah.
to try to make a sort of a home out of that, of a house also in terrible disrepair, bring order out of chaos, and pull together friends and try to make a squad, band of workmen for a cause greater than ourselves under God, and God lined you up for times such as these. So, church was going to close. Now it's not closing, and we're looking to finish the restoration of the garage, an incredible workspace for the men I believe in and invest in.
And don't forget, there were those people in this church who wanted to have that condemned and knock it down.
They want to knock down the place.
Building? Knock down buildings?
House.
And what happened? These guys got together and made a good, solid, clean living space out of it once again.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
I know.
so what am I talking about? I'm offering to be the coordinator. And what it's looking like it'll be is we'll form an LLC, which people will subscribe into with monthly payments. Very basic numbers, you're looking at $200 a month. That's taxes, the bills, and the mortgage. And that can change up and down.
Bring your own beer.
But when the place is paid for, you're talking about a cell phone bill for a place you could go to
Yeah.
almost for like any reason. And then for raising, people have different reasons why they travel and things like that. And you want your kids to have fun. How about you bring your teenage, your tween and your your child, you go upstate and you say, I'm sticking out here for, I'm sticking out here for a couple of weeks, someone's there. I'll stick you up here. You're going to learn carpentry. You're going to fix the barn while you're up here. It's literally still an engine hoist. As strange as that sounds, an engine hoist sitting in. You're going to help Grandpa Doug, he's in his 90s. You're going to help him pull an engine out in the barn. You're going to learn something.
Yep.
And I rejoice in redemption. And this is not a leap in logic for me. It's just another thing that falls under the umbrella. I'm looking to build, and I want. You can say I'm the idea man. Well, we all do this. We all do this together. Looking to build, gather, not scatter. Looking to build, not tear down. We're looking to invest in people, relationships. I would like to be able to go there, not just this summer. I always said, I like to have Christmas there one day. I always said that.
Wow.
There was a structure, there was a chicken coop. There's a structure that's not even there anymore because Uncle Kenny couldn't maintain the place like he wanted to. So many reasons, but the exact numbers can be hammered out. I want to tell Carl and Veronica, who I love, and we absolutely don't see them anymore. There's another reason. Don't see them anymore.
Right.
Spend days with them.
So rather than seeing him at the next wedding or funeral, we'll have a place to all gather together just like we always did.
This ain't it's
So in other words,
barely
we can
a
get rid of
family.
we can get rid of our cable bill and live stream and maybe
Get rid of
cut out one
Netflix?
more bill, and that's going to pay for the house upstate.
Yeah.
So it's not even money out of our pocket. It's just moving money around.
Yeah.
I got
Sounds
basically
good to
the
me.
exact numbers. With taxes, your bills is $1,000 a month in bills for a house, and say your mortgage is $1,000.
Can I say something really
That's
quick?
$24,000 a year. Divide by 12 families or subscribers, whatever terminology you want. It's $200 a month, and you have a little slice of heaven this side of eternity. So I've berated the point. But
No, I don't
is
think
there
you
not
should
a
say
voice?
enough.
My
I
thoughts.
think
Please,
you
go ahead.
I've seen families fall apart time and time again when the matriarch and the patriarch die. Families do not stay together like tribal units like they used to. And it's a really, really sad and terrible thing. And the number one thing that happens is that the family home, who blood, sweat, and tears went into, ends up going on the market so everybody can get some money in their pocket. Rather than just giving it to one person in the family who's going to keep it being the family home. And they just toss it aside, and they just toss aside the history. And you know, some people, like my sister, which I have to give my sister kudos, refuses to let it go. And they fight, and they fight, and they fight until they get what they crave. And everybody benefits from it. And I say that we shouldn't let go so easily of the traditional family values.
Right.
The devil in this world is trying to tear apart the family, and we cannot let him, because God created the family unit. God created the mother, God created the father, God created the children, and he wants us to live together in harmony and unison. And if we let division come among us, and we don't problem solve, and we don't work together, we're just a part of the problem. And that's all I really have to say, is that I've seen it time and time again in so many different families. I won't name drop, but I've seen so many people lose so many things, and all they have is these memories and this sadness and this loneliness. And we don't have to be that way.
There's another point too. Andrea, Mark,
You
when I was
gotta
at
take
their
the
house,
microphone. So the phone records, can hear it.
When I was at Mark and Andrew's house, we were having that little party a couple weeks ago, and Mark mentioned to me they're thinking of moving. I mean, like a ton of bricks from my head. Moving, where are you gonna move to? You know, the reason I hate being in Florida is because I want to get back to all you. I miss everybody. And if she moves away, I said, Mark, when the hell am I going to see you? Who knows where you're going to go to Tennessee? Oh, Florida is. I don't even think that's in the United States anymore. It'd be terrible. Now, if we do this, if we can do this, I don't think they're going to go in because the family is all here, and the things that she enjoyed up there, just like we always did, she'll want that. And she'll want Joseph to be there, and Mark to be there, as part of what she experienced for a long, long time. So, I think it'd be a settling question. You're not going anywhere. The family's investing is in this whole project, and you're part of it. And so why go anywhere? You have more here than anywhere else you could go. And you know what it is, because she's already experienced it all her life. So that's, what do you call that? It's a little behind the scenes maneuvering, you know. It's like people who arrange marriages for other people. But I didn't understand why Andrew wanted to go anywhere. And I'd say this would be a good reason not to go anywhere. Because she'd be just as much a part of it as anybody else. We're all on equal ground. We're all looking to do the same thing. And Eric said when I spoke to him on the phone, he said, oh, well, I can't walk around when I'm up there, and I'm always thinking of my dad and everywhere I go. Yeah, right. Well, there's two parts to that. One, we're also missing Ken all the time. But the other thing is, but the reason he spent the money, remember when he told me how he was going to get the money? He says, we're going to get this loan, I'm never going to pay it back. I said, you can do it? He said, yeah. I'll never really have to pay it back, but I'll get the house. So he had it all figured out. I don't know what kind of a loan it was. But, what's my train of thought? He put this whole thing in motion and made sure it stayed there. The best way to think of Ken is to be there and say, hey, yeah, we were here one time, I remember when we fixed that thing over there. Yeah, sometimes it makes you sad. But thinking of him in that way is great. He was that good a guy. And he not only loved the house up there, but he loved what it meant. He loved meaning the family got together. And we did these things together, away from the city and away from the stuff and away from the job. That little piece, that slice of real estate, separate from everything else. And if we can't because that means everything he did had meaning, had purpose, and had a reality. That's a good thing. And I said to myself, the best way I could think of Ken is to try to be like him. What about him that I could make my own and do like he did? He says, no, I wasn't going to handle it because it's been a long time. It doesn't get any easier. So if we didn't have that house, somebody else would have that house. That's okay. It just seems wrong in its basis. No one else should have that house. For all of the good reasons, for all of the things that we love. So, if we can do this, let's do it. Let's talk to the other people, tell them that we are committed to it, if we are, I think we are, and say, and not too much money. You're getting a lot for your dough. And by and by, when I'm going down the road, and if for some reason, some better comes along and it's time to sell and do something else, that's okay. But then we'll be doing it, you'll be doing it on your terms. And not because someone's pulling a rig out. Like a cheap shot. So, we need some better numbers. We need some practical things. We talk about payment and stuff like that. I don't worry about taking care of the house. I don't worry about it being in good condition. I don't worry about it being clean and nice when anyone goes there. Those things, we've done those for years and years. That's just going to work out fine. We have more really talented, hard-working people who work on it than ever before. So it'll be as nice and probably nicer than it's ever been. We have a lot of people with a lot of good ideas, and there are parts of the house and things that really need some good work, and it'll be a joy to do it. It'll be a joy to convert rooms and change things and make them the way you guys want them, and make the house better than it ever has been. Maybe it'll even have some heat.
Maybe.
So, you know, it could happen. It's the only good things in the future. Because we have a really great family history here. I remember when these guys, Laura, when they were young and we brought them up there, crazy shenanigans and running around and having a good time. You and your brother shot out all the windows in the barn, so he laid out the BB gun.
No.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was wild one day. Kenny had to take it away.
I remember.
But, and I told
I'll fix that, I promise.
Why'd you do that?
I wouldn't let him have my BB gun, I said, but I'll teach you how to shoot it. And that's what we do. Bring BBs up there, do it like my uncle, set up a target, let him nail on the ground or something, and teach him how to shoot it.
Yeah, we got
Not
tons
run
of
around
kids.
shooting our own windows.
That's shoot the window.
That's what my uncle did. He taught us how to shoot. A little small story. We're up there, we're having lunch at my uncle's house, and typical day up there, and I knew I was getting a BB gun. So, my dad bought it, he had it sent up there, and the postman came. So my uncle got up, reading, and he went to the door, and he got this long, thin box. Well, I knew what was in that. And I rose up out of my chair, and he said, "No, sit down. Finish lunch. And then I'll take you outside and show you how to shoot this thing." He wasn't just going to let me take this BB gun out and blaze the whole neighborhood there. No, that's not what he did. Because one of the parts of a real man is control and maturity. And you don't let the kids run around and things like that. And he's going to say, yeah, he can have it. But I'll show him first. I'll show him quite good, okay? And later on, when we had rifles in 21, 22, we never had a problem. We never thought to do something stupid because he told us, this is the way to do it. So he didn't let us be idiots like we might have been. So, and I'll do that purpose.
I still have your old TV, by the way. We gotta take it up there and shoot it.
Yeah. I tell you, I would rather love to be in there, because for years we didn't have it. And the evenings came,
Yep.
we had to get card games, we had to get board games, we had to do something else to entertain ourselves. And when we got to be late, we said, oh, that's enough. We want another day.
Here.
You ain't gonna go anywhere, it's too damn dark. You can't walk around. So,
It's the
you
best of
come
times.
together as necessity, and after a while you say, yeah, I like that. I like it better than what I used to do.
Yeah, the kids.
And if we want to be ripping the electronic things out of the kids' hands, because it will not.
Not gonna work.
Another thing. And so every time you go there, you finally put the key in the door, lock the door, and you say, man, that was a good time. We better come back and do it. Just like we always do.
All right, so we're gonna buy the house.
So, are we going to
Anybody else, anybody else, Danny or James? Is,
I'm sure they would love us to keep the house.
you guys are gonna help fix it, no doubt.
Yeah, James.
I think you should get Aaron to
Oh, I
negotiate
got friends that would help
on
us
something
house
lower
buy.
than what it's worth.
My brother had a lot of friends, not a lot, he had some good friends, and they all came up
Seems like
there.
the kid wants to
They were
just.
all
get
welcome,
his off.
just like you guys, and Bill.
He's also an engineer too, so.
Yeah, he knows.
We have an engineer that wants to help. There you go.
He knows things, I suppose.
Like I said, whenever you guys go up there, just want to help out.
The engineer tell me how to keep the barn from falling down.
All team, right? Yeah, I'm on Facebook.
Well, the only
It's got a little lean to it, it's not.
The only difficulties I see is, one, you know, getting Eric down to reality.
Yeah.
And having him realize that this is something we're gonna do. And then the closing costs of the house, because closing costs of the house in New York are ridiculous. Depending on the taxes, it can go from $7,000 to $10,000. So to have that kind of money, that's really gonna be expensive.
Well, I spoke to your mother today about this, and initially she had a very dour attitude and blah, blah, blah. And at the end of it, I said, well, we'll probably have to come up with some money. And it'll probably be a portion of your inheritance. But we have the money. And if there's cash needed, we have money. So, for our part, we can maybe do something that you guys couldn't do at the moment, but we can do that part. So, and hopefully, if we get to the point where it's doing the closing and all that stuff, that it's not as cheap as Long Island, you know, and maybe you don't have to get a realtor involved and save money on that, some things like that. I wouldn't accept anything Eric says, because
He doesn't know
he
anything.
just doesn't know enough.
No.
So, we would naturally try to save as much money as we can on that. But if there's cash available, and I told your mother, I said, we're probably gonna have to come up with some cash. And now, thank you, Biden, I've already lost my $30,000 in my investments. But there's enough money there. She's got money, I've got money. So, if we can get together with the other parts of it, enough people to make this engine go, let's see what we do.
I think you guys could get him to sell something.
You know. In fact, if I were a younger guy, I think the idea is you gotta stretch yourself, maybe make some sacrifices so that you don't lose this. So that this doesn't pass you by and you say, wow, we could have done it, but we didn't, this or that. Let's not have that to say. If it can be done, let's do it. And then let the future worry about itself. Right? Fish is the evil of the day, right?
Amen.
I think we should buy it.
So,
I mean, Eric's trying to say,
I want 10% stake.
he thinks it's worth more than it's really worth. He's trying to say, it's gotta go on the market by the end of July.
He's out of his mind.
Is this-
He doesn't have to.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. The house is not worth a house that is on Long Island. It's upstate New York, it's an old house, it's not worth it. You have to get a real estate person to
Well, you guys have opened up.
estimate the house.
It's an old house.
And
market started to
market's
decline.
changed, the interest rates gone up, and everything's changed. So you can't go back, you live in Arizona, you don't know anything.
Have you seen the inside of the
About a
house?
year ago, we probably would have, but that was a year ago.
Have you seen the inside of the house, Jordan?
Yeah, we went.
Yeah, you know. This is the different house. It's got like 3 different parts.
And you didn't finish any of it.
It's
The
like a
band was
puzzle that
already
doesn't fit
done.
together, you know?
Right, 'cause-
And I tell Eric, this house has got serious problems, you know? The people did so much work. They weren't all that good at it, you know? So this, in other words, don't get the idea of these inflated prices and you're gonna make this killing on the house.
that's the money he wants, it's not what the
Yeah,
house is for.
that ain't
And
reality.
that's not what
We
people
know
are
what
paying
the house is.
Yeah, Regina.
You want it.
So, you know,
Maybe a year ago, but not
I
now.
don't know who's
Not
listening
even
to
a year
that.
ago, I'm not gonna pay.
No, work remote people were flooding upstate from the city and stuff, but that's kind of stopped now.
Not in that
But
area.
you can't live in the house
It's
year
not a
round.
popular area.
How much you gonna pay for a house that it's a summer house? How much you gonna pay?
Right. And with all that property, someone has to maintain it, you don't wanna maintain that kind of property,
Yeah.
with all that acreage. It can't, it's not usable. What you do is have to pay someone to mow
Unless you got some cows.
it. Yeah.
Horses down by the.
Horses? Horses are good.
And he's not thinking straight, you know, because honestly, Uncle Kenny would never want the house sold, period, end of story. So he's just thinking about the bottom line, which really isn't fair to anybody.
It's his
And
counterpart.
honestly, we would be doing our children disservice not to be going upstate, because it's a better life for our children versus going vacation anywhere else. Because listen, going to Florida in the summer, going to Florida is nice, going to the Florida house is nice, but going in the middle of the summer, it's too hot. I would rather go when mom and dad are down there in the winter, and then go upstate in the summer where it's a lot cooler. I mean, that is ideal. But honestly, I can't spend $2,000 in plane tickets. I couldn't afford to go there. I wanted to go this weekend upstate, but Don wasn't going, and I wasn't gonna go and just airfare. So it's a better living for the children to have weeks without the electronics, playing board games, playing with each other, and having fun. And you know, I remember KK saying to us, "This is the best day of my life." And you know what she was doing? She was outside playing all day in the yard. That's all she was doing. No
Wow.
electronics, no
Wow.
nothing. And that's what the kids need, and that's what they thrive on, to be with their families and have fun, playing board games, cooking with each other, and just having family time. And we all loved it when we were kids, and there's no reason why we still can't do this. You know, so you change your lifestyle. You don't, spend that extra money on this or extra money on that, and you change your bills around. It can always be done. It's not like we're asking for thousands of dollars. So you just, Don and Dad, you gotta look at the bills of the house. You gotta look at the taxes of the house. You gotta look at what the mortgage payments were gonna be, and realistically, who would want to be part of this endeavor, and then come up with a realistic number. Listen, if I can do it, a single mother with 3 kids,
Yep.
give you a couple $100 a month,
Yep.
you know what, so the check that I'm getting from the state next month, okay, I'll hold that aside, and that will pay it for the next 10 months.
I mean, I just talked to Bill an hour and a half ago. He said he'd do it.
And Bill has, what, 3 kids?
Yeah, it's 3 kids.
He said he'd do it. He went up there. He's been up there like 3 times.
Yeah, he enjoyed himself. He knew the value of that type of a place to have to be able to go to.
It's invaluable.
Yeah.
That's what it is, invaluable to us.
So that is submitted, and please, everyone, well, it'll get sent to you. I guess I can't. There's no point saying it unless you watch this. But yes, everyone share it everywhere.
So,
So
you gotta
we
talk
will
to the Bedoyers
work
and
out.
the Trents.
I got lawyer friends. It's no big deal. I got lots of lawyer friends. Here around agreements, contract, the kind of basic math. I know people are real estate. Well, I know one people. Jesse, who absolutely would go up there, would who will be going up there to do work, he will, as well as everyone else. Anyway,
I
no big
still
deal.
know Jesse from my house. But the first thing you gotta do is find out what the house is for. And then bring Eric down to reality, and that will be Dad's job, is to bring him back down.
Oh, I mean, we need to know, praise him.
Yes.
Because the house on Main Street.
You
don't-
can't even
ain't
sell
the
a house
same
without
as,
an appraisal like the one
Of
though.
course not,
Up
you
the
can't,
hill.
you can't
Up the
compare.
hill.
You're not comparing.
But that gets us started. So thank you, everybody. Not isolated events. These tough, corrupt times we live in, we are working towards redemption, building, not tearing down, knitting together, not falling apart.
Wait, one more thing.
One more thing.
One last thing, and if you liked the way this beautiful church looked as the camera was going around,
It's very
check
beautiful.
us out.
Check us out. It's
At
beautiful.
75 Caleb's Path, Central Islip, 9:30 every Sunday morning. We would love to see you here at our church. Have a wonderful day. God bless.
God bless. Okay.
Very good.